to me.
What's up, guys? So this is gonna be, we're gonna check out the I don't even know if I was gonna call this a review, but I I don't even think what you would call what Critical Drinker does reviews. They're more like montage mashups, like with with poetic dialogue, two of them. Like, hey, they're kind of like the screen grab compilations that Cosmic Wonder does. And I think how Cosmic Wonder does that is he goes on, he pulls a bunch of pictures off of like Google Images or what's that other website, the art website, I can't remember, but a bunch of different comic photos and poster photos, and then you can go into the streaming software and you add images, and then you add a list of images, and you get them to play in sequence. You get them to play in sequence, and then they do like motion, like like a motion montage, and that's how I'm pretty sure he does the backdrops for those. But Critical Drinker does like the same type of thing, and then he does like this. I don't know, dude. Some people just have a way of speaking, a way of like poetic speaking to them. I can't. I couldn't even begin. Like, I don't know if he just wings it or if it's like off the top of his head, or if he like plans it out and writes it down. But anyways, we're gonna jump into the Critical Drinker review of Ant-Man 3. And here we go.
Let's talk for a moment about representation. No, not that kind of representation. I'm talking about individual examples that perfectly encapsulate the larger collective they're part of. For example, I think Armageddon's a pretty good representation of your average Michael Bay movie. A star-studded cast, lots of explosive, over-the-top action, lashings of patriotic heroism and earnestly grandiose posturing, and a plot that relies on the sheer willpower of the audience to hold it
You see
together.
what I mean? You see this is exactly what I'm talking about. Is like he just coming up? Was he just this is off the top of his head? What is grandiose postulating? Like, dude, that's gotta be written down. There's no way.
Together, or The Shining, which is pretty much representative of Stanley Kubrick movies as a whole. Lots of long, extended shots, awkward silences, and unnerving exchanges between characters, heavy subtextual meaning, slowly building tension and paranoia, and a gradual descent into madness and violence. And then there's Ant-Man 3, or Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum Mania if you're a pedantic arsehole. A movie which basically sums up everything the MCU has become. A plot so entirely predictable and generic that it feels like it was written by an overworked AI, basically consisting of a series of tired and played out tropes that have been done a million times before. Lame attempts at quippy jokes and visual gags that are jarringly at odds with what's actually happening. Headache inducing visuals that are so obnoxiously overdone you can barely even process what you're seeing. And an ending that effectively puts everything back exactly as it was before, so that there's absolutely no weight or consequence to anything that you just saw. In short, Ant-Man 3 is everything that most of us have come to despise about Marvel at this point. It's 2 hours of trite, bland, corporatized, predictable, pointless, soul-destroying nothingness. It's the absolute antithesis of artistic endeavor that has nothing interesting to say or do and exists for no other reason than because the studio had a release slot to fill.
Listen, is it really that bad, guys? Like, is it really that bad? Like, dang. Like, because everything I'm seeing from the visual standpoint, the movie looks amazing. But then everyone's saying it's like it's so bad. Tyrone saying it's so bad. Critical Drinker saying it's so bad. Everyone's saying it's so bad. It's like, now I can understand hate. I hate it when movies do that, where everything resets at the end of the movie. Everything resets, and then it's like nothing happened, right? And it's the only time that I forgive that is when there's time travel involved, or um when everyone forgets. When everyone forgets. And that's when it's okay. But when an entire huge crazy stuff just wouldn't happen, and then at the end of the movie everything's resolved and everything's back to normal, I hate that.
Watching this movie is like eating a Big Mac for the 500th time in your life.
I mean,
just another iteration of the same formula.
I do like everything resolved. I do like everything resolved. I just don't like it when it has no weight. Is a better way to say what I mean.
That's exactly what you expect from start to finish, and leaves you feeling vaguely dirty and disappointed in yourself afterwards. Just like Tatiana after one of my special sessions.
Who the hell is Tatiana, dude?
Anyway, fuck it, let's get the plot summary over with so we can be done with this shite.
I see what he does.
So the story... formulaic series of predictable events picks up sometime after the events of Endgame. Scott Lang is living the good life now, basking in the glow of fame and success after helping to save the world. He's well liked, respected, and dating a beautiful and intelligent woman. Yeah, she looks like she gets her hair cut in a vending machine, but whatever, I guess you can't have everything. Seriously though, the hair and wardrobe department on these films must really hate Evangeline Lilly for some reason, because the goal of every single movie seems to be to make her look as shit as possible. Anyway, whatever. So they pop round to Hank Pym's house for an awkward family lunch when Scott's teenage daughter Cassie reveals she's created a magical quantum bullshit device that can allow them to scan and map out the entire quantum realm. Because, you know, of course she has. Because this is Marvel,
like
where every teenage girl is a scientific mega genius that creates Star Trek level technology in their bedroom in their spare time for fun. Fuck off, film.
Just
Honestly,
like
it's like some Jakey from the East End of Glasgow claiming to have invented a functional time machine after drinking a pint of brake fluid. I just need
I didn't know this, right? Because the people that these are aspects that the people that I've been hearing from haven't said. So if they would have let me know, if the person who said they liked it, because there's one person that said they liked it, if they would have let me know about this, I'd have been like, oh, no, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. That kind of stuff, that kind of Riri Williams stuff, that kind of Ray, what's her name? Ray, can't remember her full name. What's her full name? I don't know. I think her name's just Ray from Star Wars. That kind of stuff drives me absolutely insane.
£10 to make it stop being invisible, mate. Help me out. Oh yeah, and she's also a political activist. Because truly, there's nothing more likable than an asshole, opinionated teenager that's never lived a single moment in the real world in their entire life, berating a grown man who literally saved the universe, that he's got no reason to feel good about himself because there's still homeless people. You serious? Seriously, you live in San Francisco, love. Even Captain Marvel couldn't turn that shithole around.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
Anyway, so she turns on the magical quantum bullshit device, but then Janet remembers that she's still a character in this movie and frantically shuts it down. But then it powers itself up again despite being disconnected from its power source, because I guess that's how machines work, and then they all get sucked into the quantum realm.
Shite. Oh yes. Shite.
Yup, that's the premise for this movie. Just shove them into the situation they need to be in as quickly as possible and don't ask questions. Also, I love how the fantastical mind-bending quantum realm might as well just be an alien planet, considering it's got breathable air, gravity that's comparable to our own, a functioning ecosystem, recognizable civilizations and humanoid life forms, and even bars. Do they have like cable TV as well? Anyway, the gist here is that when Janet was stranded in the quantum realm for like 30 years, she hooked up with a human scientist who just so happened to crash land in her immediate vicinity.
Hey, I got a question. Where was all this stuff the first time around? Where was all this stuff the first time around in Ant-Man and the Wasp when Scott rescues his girlfriend's mom from the quantum realm? When he went there, none of this stuff was there. It was just her. It was just her off in the distance, all alone by herself with the microbes, right? And same in the first one. when he caught a glimpse of her. He didn't catch a glimpse of a bunch of other civilizations and a bunch of other alien species and pubs and bars and screens, because apparently they got screens themselves. They got TV screens, right? He didn't see none of that. All he saw was a little glimpse of girlfriend's mom, right? What about the 5 years he was stuck in the quantum realm in between Infinity War and Endgame? He didn't see none of this. So I get why people are saying it's bad. And that combined with the classic the classic Disney Marvel, girls are perfect at everything. Girls are the best at everything. Girls are perfect. Girls are inherently perfect at everything. It goes with Rey from Star Wars. It goes from all of the MCU female Marvel characters, apparently, now. I mean, back in the day where Iron Man 2, Black Widow was exactly the power level that she should be, right? They always did Black Widow. They did right. They did right by her. But then somewhere along the line, every single female character had to be perfect, right? So now you get these Riri Williams recreating the Iron Man suit out of her ass in the ghetto. It's and this girl making his daughter making her own quantum device and making her own Ant-Man suit with no scientific background that he had for 60 years, or she had for 60 years, or even their daughter had for however long, or etc., etc.
And save her life. Wow, that was lucky. Together they worked to repair his ship so they could return to the real world, but because it's a magical bullshit plot device ship, the moment it reactivated, Janet was able to sense his thoughts and realized that he was actually Kang the Conqueror.
Well, that's definitely shite.
Wow, what a stroke of luck. I mean, if that ship didn't have such a wildly specific function with absolutely no practical value, then none of this stuff would even be happening. So anyway, she blew up the engine core with her magical bullshit shrinking devices and got the hell out of there, while Kang became a kind of dictator who rules over the entire quantum universe. And of course, Janet decided never to mention any of this extremely relevant and important information to anyone so that the rest of the plot could happen. The gist now is that Kang wants the engine core back so that he can repair his ship and return to the real world and conquer it. So he kidnaps Scott and Cassie and forces them to help him. And because Scott doesn't want to see his daughter get crushed to death in front of his eyes, he does. So Kang gets the core back and takes Janet along with him so that he can gloat to her or whatever, and leaves everyone else to die without actually confirming their deaths, because the writers are absolute fucking hacks that have never seen Austin Powers before.
No. I'm going to leave them alone and not actually witness them dying. I'm just going to assume it all went to plan. What?
Then they get rescued by Hank's aunts that have built their own super advanced civilization that even Kang didn't seem to be aware of, and there's a big climactic CGI battle to stop a sky portal from opening, and lots of stuff explodes, and Cassie's able to persuade Kang's right-hand man to betray him by calling him a dick, and then Kang dies and everything goes back to normal. What a pile of absolute shite. Honestly, when I think about what this movie is, what it's trying to be, and what the thought process behind it was, I realise that it's nothing more than a laundry list of every tired Marvel movie trope that we've seen over the past 10 years. I mean, say what you want about the first Ant-Man, but you at least got the impression that it was trying to do something a bit more creative and different. It was a heist movie. It was low level and personal. It actually had a bit of creative energy and imagination.
Yeah, the first one was awesome.
This film
dude.
just feels so utterly flat and devoid
Second
of
one,
soul and personality that it was like it was designed in some corporate boardroom by committee.
Enjoyable.
Of course, the film has to bombard you with such insane visuals that it completely overwhelms your brain and leaves you numb. Of course, the fate of the entire universe has to be at stake, because God forbid you'd give us a small group of characters that we actually care about instead. Of course, the finale has to come down to a pair of generic CGI armies blasting away at each other against a CGI backdrop with no real indication of which side is winning winning or losing. Of course, every single dramatic moment has to be undercut by gratingly inappropriate humour, because if people aren't laughing, they're not enjoying themselves. Of course, every single female character has to be ferociously intelligent, successful, physically tough, resourceful, brilliant at fighting, and able to magically figure out things that they shouldn't possibly know. Of course it does, because it's a Marvel movie, and Marvel movies are literally just the same formula repeated again and again, only with slightly different variables. The cast is bloated way beyond the requirements of the actual storyline. The only people that are vaguely relevant are Scott, Cassie, and Janet, which kinda makes me wonder why the others were even involved. Like, why even call it Ant-Man and the Wasp if you're not gonna give the Wasp anything to do? Michael Douglas spends most of the movie standing around with the kind of shell-shocked expression that just tells you he's wondering what the fuck happened to his career, while Evangeline Lilly looks confused and pissed off most of the time. I mean, I can't say I blame her with that shitty haircut. Cassie went from a cute, likeable little kid in the first movie to an obnoxious, self-righteous, sarcastic, abrasive know-it-all, played by an actress in her mid-20s for some reason, and I can't help wondering, who the fuck is this character even supposed to appeal to? I mean, do women look up to arrogant arseholes like that and think, yeah, I want to be like that? Oh yeah, and then there's MODOK.
Yeah, they do.
Want to see a giant CGI
They're all
head
bad.
that looks like a
They want to
worse
all
version
be
of the
bad
Games
bitches.
Master floating around, getting owned by basically everyone? Well, feast your eyes, ladies and gentlemen, because this image pretty much sums up the MCU now. You know, I'm led to believe that the comic book version of MODOK is actually a pretty sinister, terrifying character, massively powerful, sadistic, and destructive. That would have been a cool thing to work into Ant-Man 3. This, however, is not.
Yeah, that's
And then
not
there's the stuff that's just
MODOK's
fucking
face.
inexplicable, like Bill Murray showing up for a 5-minute cameo that honestly feels like it was worked in at the last minute because Bill Murray showed up on set that day and decided he wanted to be in the movie. It adds absolutely nothing, it does nothing except waste time, and it's about as funny as an episode of Velma. One of the few bright spots of this absolute shit show is Jonathan Majors as Kang. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's no Thanos, but he's got at least a tiny bit of gravitas this time around, mostly because he speaks with big, dramatic pauses. Really though, like most of the rest of the cast, he's far too good for the bottom of the barrel shite like this. I can only hope that Creed 3 gives him a better chance to stretch his acting muscles, because I think he's destined for much better things than this. Ultimately, the Marvel Cinematic Universe feels like some old rock band playing their greatest hits at gig after gig. They're basically on autopilot now, nobody's hearts are really in it anymore, they all know the routine off by heart and what the audience expects, and it's really just a case of getting through the set so they can move on to the next gig forever. And I have to admit, part of me still held a tiny flame of hope that they might have recognised where the franchise was going wrong after the train wreck of Phase 4, that they might vary things up now and then, try new things, different ideas, maybe break from the old, well-worn Marvel formula once in a while, especially since this movie is supposed to kick off Phase 5 with a bang. Instead, it's just the same crap regurgitated once more, and if the box office underperformance is anything to go by, Phase 5 isn't going to start with a bang, but with a pathetic whimper. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Yeah,
Let's.
that's crazy, because if that's true, like, if that was supposed to be their, because I'm pretty sure I remember the marketing somewhere the marketing, like somewhere along the line, Disney did say that, yeah, this is gonna be our big opening Phase 5 with a bang, right? If this was their opening Phase 5 with a bang, then oh boy, Phase 5 is just gonna be more of Phase 4. I don't know, man. I don't know, because like I said in the other video, I hadn't seen it, so, but all of the things that I'm hearing between, again, females are always perfect, Cassie inventing stuff that she has no business inventing, just like Riri Williams does, the Wasp coming in at the last minute and saving Scott, because Scott is a man and can't help himself. I don't know. So, but anyways, appreciate you guys for watching this video, and please like, subscribe, and all that. It really helps me out when you do that. And just follow me on Twitch. I'm gonna be streaming on Twitch tonight. And peace out, guys.